Good morning, everybody. My name is Paul. I work for a company called Micrographics, an Autodesk reseller in Cape Town, South Africa. And I'd like to discuss with you today managing your local files that you save using Revit. Revit has various different ways in which you can work with files. Some is cloud-based, and then there's also your hard drive, and even if you're on a local area network. But the most simplest thing for people to do when they learn Revit is just to save what we call a local file. So what you can see on the screen at the moment is a typical sort of sample project that Revit comes out with, and my first job is to go and save this file. So on the file menu over there, I can see that I've got the save as option as well as a save option, and then we've also got the home tab up there, which will allow you to save, well, open one or other file that you've got there. Alright, so the save as option, that's always going to be on the file menu there. File save as, and then you've got various different options over here. And the two really is a cloud model and a project. The cloud model, you need to have an extra license of docs at least, but typically we would then say, okay, save a project. Maybe I'm just working on my computer, I'm not connected to a local area network, I'm not connected to the cloud, so I say save as project, and then I will go and save this somewhere on my computer. And when we get to this stage over here where we have the save as dialog, I think it's important to recognize that this is not your typical Windows dialog that opens in front of you, but it is indeed a dialog that is unique to Revit. Specifically, if you have a look at the options that are available to you when you are saving, you will see that there's an option that gives you the maximum backups. There's also work sharing options with which we are not concerned today. And then also maybe the thumbnail view that you might want to regenerate. But specifically I want to have a look at this maximum amount of backups and what does that mean. Some people say 20. And that's fine. Let's go and have a see what that does. So if I say save, it's going to save it in this blog 6 within my desktop. And I'm going to say save. Alright, so the result of doing that is that within our folder we'll end up with a Revit project with a file of 18.404 kilobytes. Now what you need to realize in Revit is if you go to the options, under the general section, you will find notifications, save reminder. You can set it to 15 minutes or 30 minutes or 1 hour or no reminders. Right, so that's the one that we're interested in. Now, Revit will not automatically back up a file for you. It will just remind you, listen, you haven't saved the file for a while. Do you want to save the file? And of course you would say yes, every 30 minutes, just interrupt me and say, do I want to save the file? And when you start working with Revit, you just have to make that decision. Yes, I'll save the file. Now, as soon as you press save after that initial save, you'll find something interesting happening. And that is, it will create a backup for you. So if you look at the time date stamp, it will save the original file, 1239. There's 1432, right? And then as you go on with that, let's quickly fill it up. I think we used 20, right? So we'll just press the save button 20 times quickly. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll just pause the video quickly and then come back to you once we've done that. Right, and now you can see how we've pressed that button 20 times. So we've got the original project, and then we've got 20 backups. But each backup is a full copy of what it was before. Now, with some Revit projects, I've seen architects use Revit files that are up to a gigabyte. It's not recommended. It's recommended that you stay at about 250 megabytes if possible. But imagine if this was a very large project, then you would have, say, 20 megabytes for this one project being stored in backups like that. To make matters worse, you might have multiple files with which this is happening. So you can imagine, if you have a small hard drive, it's going to fill up quite quickly. For that reason, we typically, or some people typically don't keep 20 backups. Remember, if it asks you to save every 20 minutes, then it's going to be a total of 10 hours that you can go backwards in time. So it doesn't, it's not that large a thing. So what a lot of people do is they give a file a new name to differentiate it from the file that they used before. And then they'd also copy these files onto a removable storage every now and then, just to create an archive of what they've done already. An interesting thing to note here is that you can, of course, just go and delete these items here. But notice what happens when we go File Save As again. File Save As Project. And this time, under the options, I'm just going to put this down to 3. I sometimes either use only 3 or 1, just in case the file goes corrupt. I'm going to go with 3, and then I say Save. Now you'll see what happens to the containing folder. It actually cleans it up, so that there's only 3 backups that's being kept. So that's quite useful that Revit does that automatically. If you do own Autodesk Docs, then you can, of course, also save a file as a cloud model. That you can do with Revit LT as well, so long as you have a Docs license. And this is what everybody should be doing if they are working on these models. Right? Go File, Save As, Cloud Model, and that will allow other people to link your file in via the Cloud References palette. It's a linking element on the cloud. When we work with Revit files in the cloud, we save them as cloud models. Regardless of whether or not we've got the full Revit, we can use Revit LT as well. And we would then save that within Collaborate, Architect. And I'm just going to save it as this file name quickly. Save. That then initiates the model to the cloud. And what this does is it actually publishes the file to the cloud. And what that means is that the file on which you're working, the Revit file on which you're working, is not the file that you'd be seeing on the cloud. Right, so although this file is initiated on the cloud, this is not the file that you're working with. This is the published version of the file. Just like with a normal cloud-based file, if you go to Collaborate and you look at the published settings there, you can choose which views or which things you'd like to save or send through to the cloud. In this case, we've just chosen everything. Usually it's just a 3D view, so if it's ADSK 360, then it would make sense to choose 3D views of the model. Let's take something like the default 3D view, and then that is what we'll publish, right? And saving this file doesn't update the version. You can see there's the file. The version, if we just have a look over here quickly, we don't need the classification, version, number, role, type, level, volume, system, project, version we need. Okay. Alright, so there we can see the version. The version of the sample project currently is 2. Now look what happens if I effect some other change to this file. Let's just quickly copy a chair, save the file, and then we go to the Home tab. See, it's saving the model to the cloud. And then we go to the Home tab, which you'll find up there. It's available on Autodesk Revit LT as well. We'll refresh the home page. And then we'll see that we've got an update to publish. There's our RSC basic sample project, which we can then publish the latest or publish without links. And as soon as we do that, then it will copy that file up onto the cloud as version 3. Okay, it's processing that file, and very shortly we'll see that reflecting on the cloud as version 3. Alright, so there you can still processing, and it's processing online as well, and it's updated to version 3. Okay, so it's only once you publish that this Revit file will then be inverted commas saved onto the cloud. Another interesting thing to note is that even though you don't work directly off the cloud, it does keep a local copy of your Autodesk file on your hard drive in your app data, local, Autodesk Revit 2023, collaboration cache, and then it hides it under somewhere the GUID. But if you had to open this file, usually we open files from within Revit, not directly from the Windows Explorer. We don't double click on a Revit file, we open it through this interface over there. There's our 1430 on the 13th of the 12th. We'll open that and you can see already that it is the same file. And that is the local file that we are working on. Alright, so just by using docs, even if you're using Revit LT, it will keep a backup on your hard drive. And then of course whatever you publish, that's going to sit on the cloud and update right there. I hope you found this interesting. Until next time, enjoy Revit. Bye now.